The top 10 strongest Hazbin Hotel characters. I did a video similar to this a while back when the pilot was still the only form of audio-video content to go off of for Hazbin. Only then I ended up just ranking all the major characters in said pilot since not many had proper screen time still, but now with Season 1 fully complete and tons of characters having more notable roles, trying to rank every single character felt like it would have been an extremely convoluted task to get done now. So instead, we're just doing who I believe are the top 10 right now based on what these characters have shown, but also through some dialogue pieces too. Anyway, let's get into it. For number 10, I'm actually going to put Husk. The few times Husk has fought, he's shown to be quite capable in holding his own, most notably his fight against the Shark Sinners when he went to check on Angel downtown. The first Shark Sinner he confronted was flung into a jukebox with enough force to break the glass and have him stuck in there, showing his physical strength to already be around superhuman. Husk can also fly, which makes it easier to maneuver around in a battle to keep himself safer. He'll typically fight using playing cards and explosive dye as weapons, the cards being sharp enough to cut off the tips of firearms, and Husk can throw these cards with enough precision to cut down multiple guns at once. By the end of the confrontation, Angel did need to step in to help Husk a little, but he still managed to hold his own for a decent bit of time against a group of, 5 armed sinners? It's pretty good. Keep in mind, this guy used to be an overlord before Alistair knocked him down a peg. Was initially contemplating on putting Serpentius at this spot, but he's extremely weak when it comes to close quarters fighting. The hypnosis thing is his best thing that he's got in that regard, but that didn't even last super long against Angel. Plus, he also went on record saying he's useless in a fight without his minions, so there's that.
Wait! I can't fight without my minions!
I'm gonna be putting Loot at number 9. The strength of a regular exorcist got thrown a bit out of whack once episode 8 rolled around because hell went on for so long just losing to these guys over and over on a yearly basis until Carmela Carmine found out angelic steel can harm them, but the way some of them were taking damage during the war, Loot included, feels like a bit of an oversight to the initial interpretation of Angel's strengths. Like, obviously Loot is still very strong. She beat Vaggie once in the past and is Adam's right-hand woman, incredible at hand-to-hand combat, can fly just like Husk, and has high weapon proficiency. But she did end up losing to Vaggie in the finale, so having her above that wouldn't make sense. Plus, her durability is questionable because the show kept saying how angels can only be harmed by the angelic weapons, yet the cause of Loot losing her arm was from ripping it out of under hotel rubble. At this point, I feel like we need to take the angelic weapons thing with a little bit of a grain of salt because I've seen a lot of people bring it up as the reason some characters are automatically stronger than others. It's understandable to think that on the base level, but in my opinion, it's just not that black and white anymore, and Loot is a prime example of that. Strong for sure, but not stronger than the remainder of the characters on this list in my opinion. Vaggie being a number 8 just seems the most logical to me here. Just like Loot, she's an incredibly strong fighter due to being a former exorcist. Adam referred to her as one of his top girls on the front lines. It's kind of hard to elaborate too much on her due to her fighting style being borderline identical to Loot's, who I just went over. Technically, an argument can be made for her to be higher too since she's an angel, but the weapon proficiency and strong hand-to-hand combat seems to be all she has going for her right now. She doesn't have any unique magical, demonic, or angelic abilities like a lot of the others on here. Number 7 is going to Carmela Carmine, the overlord that specializes in the weapons market, yet has a fighting style centered around kicking. Even before she trained Vaggie, the show did a good job at giving the audience a relative idea of how strong she is, not just from the info dump about her offing an angel, but the fact that she was able to garner the attention and respect of so many other overlords. All those guys were totally fine with Carmela running those meetings and not feeling insecure about their own power as a result. Of course, this could just be solely from Carmela's intelligence as a leader, but part of me thinks it also comes from a respect of her fighting capabilities. To circle back a bit to her intelligence portion, I'd argue she's got one of the higher battle IQs in the entire series due to how precise she was when she was teaching Vaggie how to kill angels. Using the term battle IQ feels a bit cringe even for me for a show like Hazbin Hotel, but I'm not sure what else to call it in this instance. Then of course we all remember how she handled herself when Vaggie was trying to prove her resolve. Vaggie was getting tossed around like crazy for quite a bit until the Out for Love song kicked in. Vaggie wasn't able to get a single hit in, and that just goes to show how fast Carmela can be. She wasn't even really taking that confrontation super seriously, I don't think. Overall, a very strong overlord. Number 6 is going to Valentino. This hot-tempered bastard is never afraid to throw hands if it comes down to it. This guy completely ripped apart one of Velvet's models with what I can only assume is bare hands, and is obviously much stronger than Angel given their current disgusting dynamic. Although he has been seen to wield guns guns before. We've never actually seen him shoot any, so I don't know how good of a shot he is. He does have wings, which were shown to flap with enough force to put out a large fire. Not sure if he's actually capable of flight though, because this was the only time he actually used his wings, but with him being loosely based on a moth, I'd be very surprised if he couldn't fly. But what I find most interesting about Valentino's powers are his use of typhokinesis, which essentially means the ability to create and manipulate smoke at will. Every time he's used it so far is to assert his authority over Angel by forming the smoke into chains to restrain Angel's movements. Get it? It's chain smoking. Boo! A power like this can be very scary because depending on how precisely the smoke is manipulated, getting out or away from it could be extremely difficult. But part of me also wonders if Val can only use certain aspects of this power against sinners whose souls he owns. Maybe this is a reach, but because Val kept using the chains to remind Angel he owns him the same way Alistair used the green chain on Husk, it makes me think it could maybe be a soul owner exclusive thing. This will probably get cleared up next season, but that just got me thinking a bit. The potential with typhokinesis is still massive, just not quite top 5 potential for this video. Now entering top 5 territory, we have the leader of the V's himself, Vox. It feels weird to have Vox higher than Valentino at this current moment because it feels like Val's had more to show off in season 1 than Vox has. However, the big thing about Vox is the standard a lot of other characters hold him at, especially Valentino and Velvet. Vox clearly has no problems putting someone as scary as Valentino in check if things get too dicey, and Valentino shows no kind of fight back. Perhaps their mutual infatuation with each other is part of that, but I think a respect and strength is at play too, just like with Carmela. Valentino flat out stated Vox fought with Alistair in the past and almost lost, so at the very least he was around Alistair's level at one point in the past. His powers also have a lot of potential, just like Valentino's. Electrokinesis can be incredibly scary if utilized well enough. Vox hasn't really used this power to attack others yet though, mostly using it for covert spying operations or to move from one location to the next. That part in particular could be grounds for him to be one of the fastest overlords, if not the fastest. To be clear, I'm not trying to base this placing on potential because I don't really like doing that when it comes to ranking strength for characters. The big main reason he's here is the accomplishments he's achieved off screen through the validation of other characters close to him. I'm sure season 2 will clear up a lot more things about his powers the same way it will with Valentino. This might be a hot take, but I'm putting Charlie at number 4. There's been a decent amount of discussion within the fandom about how strong Charlie truly is, but because no other characters have really gassed up her strength like that to indirectly put her higher without her showing off too much, I just gotta go with what I've seen. She's relatively strong physically, being able to toss Adam into part of the hotel's roof with enough force to make the glass crack. She also blocked one of his punches with relative ease, a punch that was being enforced by more speed than normal since he was flying beforehand to build up momentum. Her demon form is a weird one though, because so far it's felt mostly like a cosmetic enhancement rather than a full-on power-up. Her physical strength probably improves, but I'm not sure how much her demonic magic improves in terms of fighting capability because she didn't really use it when she was transformed. But speaking of that magic, Charlie's magic seems to mostly consist of pyrokinesis and conjuring specific objects to her location. Her pyrokinesis was typically used through firework type explosions, like when she took out multiple exorcists in the season finale. So she can cover a lot of ground that a lot of the characters below her can't cover, which is a big plus. There's a bit more I could say about Charlie, but I feel like it'll work best after segueing into the next spot. Number 3 is going to Big Al, for sure. I've already sung Alistair's praises more times than I can count at this point. Solid battle experience, beat tons of overlords that dominated for centuries single-handedly, incredible versatility with his demonic magic, for being able to spawn personal shadow demons to fight for him, giant shadow tentacles with tons of destructive power, and force fields strong enough to keep out the entire Exorcist army with the exception of Adam for a good amount of time. But the big reason he's above Charlie for me, at least right now, is because Alistair was specifically tasked to be the one to deal with Adam when the war came to be. This was literally part of their overall plan, and Charlie implies this to be the case.
But Alistair was supposed to handle him.
This to me tells me Charlie has enough faith in Alistair to deal with the biggest threat on the battlefield over herself. If she's stronger than him, why was she not dealing with Adam from the get-go instead of going in after Alistair had to bail to heal himself? This whole battle strategy and training was being worked on a lot in advance before Extermination Day actually rolled around. It's not like this was just some last-minute thing where they fought the next day after getting the proper equipment and backup and they were like, oh, I guess Alistair has to deal with Adam, okay, go. Hazbin's been pretty clear about doing mini time skips within the universe in between episodes. But yeah, it just doesn't make much sense for me to think that Charlie is stronger than Al at this current point in time. She probably will end up being stronger than him down the line. I won't deny that possibility. He even said himself she has tons of potential to be molded into someone very strong with the right guidance.
She's filled with potential that I could guide. I concur.
I'm confident with my Alistair placement though. Number 2's gotta go to Meatmaster Adam, hands down. No question, the strongest angel we've seen so far. Sarah might be stronger due to having higher authority in heaven, but there's no way of knowing for sure right now. His holy light blasts are incredibly broken. Physical strength through the roof, which is coupled well with his solid hand-to-hand combat skills through the use of his guitar axe. Broke Alistair's shadow force field with one punch without any difficulty. Beat both Alistair and Charlie in 1v1s. It honestly felt like Adam was the only exorcist who had this supposed insane durability and endurance that was such a problem for Hell to deal with over the years. Dude was taking non-stop hits and did not stop fighting. I've already sung Adam's praises quite heavily in my video dedicated to him from about a month or so ago. If you haven't checked that out already, be sure to do so because it just further solidifies why Adam deserves to be top 2. To, I'm sure, literally nobody's surprise, Lucifer gets number 1. The only character who was able to consistently overpower Adam without taking any damage, on top of not really even taking the fight too seriously based on his playful banter throughout it. He punched Adam so hard that his mask broke, can power up his punches more using his own pyrokinesis, shapeshift on a whim with lots of precision, shifting into a different creature every few seconds against Adam and making sure the creature he would turn into would fit the current situation of the battle. He's also got his pure angelic power, which no other demon in Hell has access to, besides maybe Charlie due to passed down genetic traits. I mean, even just his title alone is enough to put him at number 1. The literal king of hell since the dawn of humanity. None of the other deadly sins, Ars Goetia, overlords, what have you, have been able to, overthrow or want to try to overthrow him as the head honcho. Lucifer may have been acting like a hermit for a while after Lilith left, but even then, nobody tried to, step in and act like a tyrant in his place or something, thinking they could, be the ruler of hell. I'm sure there's a lot of demons down there that don't care about or even like Lucifer, Alistair being a prime example of this, but that doesn't mean they don't at least hold some kind of respect for his strength. I highly doubt any other demon will be able to beat Lucifer in a 1v1, even by the end of both Hazbin and Hell of a Boss. Sorry if this video came out a bit late and writer's block was kind of beating my ass a bit, along with being worried that it would be weird to upload another video on Hazbin with it already being a month since season 1 ended. It feels like people aren't, caring as much anymore, but it's not good to sweat the small things, so I just, sucked it up and still had fun making this. Let me know in the comments below who you guys think the 10 strongest characters are, especially if the list differs from mine. Definitely looking forward to seeing all the comments memeing about how I didn't put Nifty on here because she was the one to finish off Adam.
Blood.
Of course, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe for more content like this in the future. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out, take care, bye-bye.